Hello, everybody. I am Squirrel.
And I'm the Snark.
And welcome to Trailer Postmortem. We are hot off the heels of American Horror Story Double Feature Episode 3, which is titled Thirst. Now, before you listen, remember, we are a spoiler show, so if we will be spoiled. There
will be blood.
Yes, that's right. Thank you for finishing that. There will be blood. If you haven't watched the show, turn this off, go watch it, and come back because we've got some theories. So, let's get into it, shall we? Now, this episode starts off right after the moment we finished last week, which is Doris. She's in the bathroom, and she is washing animal blood off of Alma. And she's freaking out. She's like, oh no, this is disgusting. How can you do this? We find out that what she was eating was a rabbit. Now
so
it wasn't a gopher, not dramatic gopher. No need to worry, all you gopher fanatics. Now,
if those still exist.
She does bring up the possible diseases you can get from eating live animals. And what do you think the most popular disease would be?
At the top of her list, Lyme disease.
Absolutely. Now she's cleaning him up, and then she's cleaning Alma up, and then all of a sudden Dad comes in, and he's like, "What's going on?" And Doris says, I caught Alma eating a rabbit. And he just looks at...
He pretty much looks past her.
He looks and he's like...
I mean, he knows.
He knows what's going on.
What's going down.
He knows what's going on. And he gives her a look. Now, he's like, oh no, she must have gotten into the pills. Now, her mom looks at this as just weird behavior.
Now, I thought, like, at this point, he already knew.
No, he didn't know.
So he had no clue at the end.
No,
that's
because
right.
Alma sees.
The mother was the one.
Alma sees her.
Well, the mother was the one who had the interaction.
Absolutely.
With her and saw her,
so he didn't know.
That's right.
So they hear a knock at the door. It's the sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
She comes in, and they go to the door.
She seems to pop out always at the worst
possible time.
Like
the
real
worst
police.
possible time. So, she's like, well, there's dead animals everywhere, and there's a report that Alma was in the graveyard eating a rabbit, and we've got to talk to her because this matches every single dead body, every single dead animal we've seen.
Well, it was very odd because she is extremely adamant about her eating this rabbit.
Right.
So much so that it just seemed like a little bit. It was a bit much.
Right. It just seems too. It seems too perfect.
It's very bizarre for anybody to be, eating a rabbit.
This is true. A lot, especially a live one,
without cooking it. So I mean,
right. Now she wants to take Alma to the police station to question her without her parents. Here's the other thing I find odd about this. She thinks Alma is responsible for this. How can a little girl like that take on a full-grown person?
Well, we do find out later on how. But for right now...
I had trouble believing this, though. I just did.
I don't know. But it wasn't like... I feel like she was going off of what she knew the police officer and drawing the conclusions she could, from the fact that she was... seen.
Okay.
Now she didn't see her firsthand, but she had eyewitness accounts.
All right.
And saw her eating this rabbit.
Okay. Well, so the parents don't want her to go to the police station. So what Mom does is she fakes a contraction and she falls down the steps.
See, yeah, this is the point of contention for me. I do believe she faked it because they definitely played with the camera.
She gave a look at Alma like see what I did?
I got your back.
See what I did?
It's not see what I did. It's like I got your back.
Okay.
You're not going anywhere. So
they have to take her to the hospital.
Yeah, so basically after that, Mom takes her stumble down the stairs and the camera does linger on her for that reaction. And to me, I'm still gonna, stick with what I thought, that she did it intentionally to save her baby. So we find out that the baby is all right, but Doris needs to stay in the hospital for a few days. Apparently, we find out that she's had
a couple miscarriages
in the past.
Yeah.
So they definitely want to hold her for 5 days. Which is, great writing because it gives. Alma and Harry a time.
Some daddy-daughter time.
To get, acquainted.
Yeah.
And we also see Alma's cravings starting to hit. Not only
Oh,
did
I
she
love
eat the
this.
rabbit, but she's confronted with a bounty of blood bags. Just sitting out there. Because
Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever seen
I've
that
never
type of
seen that in the
situation,
hospital.
but it's very tempting for somebody who is
Her mouth is watering.
yeah, has got a blood fixation. And so I'm even surprised that she abstains and doesn't slip a few bags away for, snack later
I'm sure
on.
if there weren't a nurse right there, she would have.
Probably, but.
Dad tells Doris that they're going to go back to New York. So Alma and Dad are in the car, and Dad's taking Alma, but she notices right away that they're going the wrong direction. They're supposed to be going the opposite direction if they're going to be going to New York. But Dad tells her, he told Mom that to make her feel safe. He wanted her to feel okay, but
Basically, he lied.
yeah, he lied. Harry confronts Alma. He's like, I know you took the pill, but she said it really has helped her play the violin.
Mm-hmm.
She's like mastered this thing. It makes it so easy. And
Now it's kind of, I'll be honest with you, it is kind of, just as a side note, I think before, the drug was like creativity. But I wonder, it unlocks creativity. But I kind of wonder if it's supposed to be a almost literal metaphor for, actual drugs going hand in hand with creativity. A lot of times people are at their most creative, well, not by taking drugs, but, a lot of artists
under
do.
the state, a lot of
And
artists
a lot of
use
people
use
do
recreational drugs.
to
You know, I
get
mean,
that muse. So I mean,
I find it odd that some of our greatest writers are alcoholics, because have you ever tried to write while you're drunk? It just doesn't. It's not fun.
well, I don't know. Some people are more productive
Yeah.
with a buzz.
I will say, I think this could be very much a metaphor for, creativity and how certain things can aid you, whether it be recreational drugs or whether it be actual, life experiences. There are things that help your creativity.
True.
There are certain things that are your muses. Alma goes into this great little monologue, if you will. She talks about, how there are people in the world who are great, and then there's everyone else. And if everyone else died, it would still be okay. So if the great people were just left, we'd have nothing but great people left in the world. And this was a weird analogy that she comes up with. And, you can tell this wasn't the pill talking.
Well, I mean,
But
the other thing too, just to interject, was that Alma knew about Dick Doc, the death under Dick Doc.
Right.
She asked him, "Was
Right.
that you?" And he
Okay.
said, essentially, I had to do what I got to do.
Okay.
And then she, at the time, was very much like, I could never do something like that.
Interesting.
I don't know if you
I forgot
remember,
about
but
that.
she was like very much like, I could never kill somebody.
Harry tells Alma that she needs to stop taking the pill. And Alma says, well, I will stop taking the pill only if you do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I have to say, I really like this peek into Alma's mind. It really shows her struggle to be great. But since she's homeschooled, I don't think she'd be competing with other children. So is this something that her parents have put into her mind?
I have no
that
clue,
you have to be great?
I've never been homeschooled, but
Well, but
I
do you think her parents are putting pressure on her, is what I'm saying?
No, she's clearly putting pressure on herself.
Right.
So I
right.
think she is, and to an extent, she has her father, who is an example of a creative person.
Absolutely.
And then she has her mother, who's
Okay.
an example of somebody who's, I guess you could say one of the normal or mediocre people
Okay.
she talked about.
All right.
So she has clear examples of what she could be.
Okay.
And I think that she just, she wants to be in, the great column. And she's willing to do what it takes to be in the great column.
Even drink blood.
Yeah. Later on that night, I believe, or it could be the next day, this pact that Alma and Harry make, to not drink blood, it quickly gets broken. When Harry's sitting in front of the PC and he's having writer's block once again.
Not one single word is written.
in order to get that that inspiration flowing, he needs that fix. So as soon as he goes dumpster diving into his trash can to fish out his pills, almost right behind him, as
Almost
if she
like
can
a creeper.
like she can smell it. She just knows. So she's like she picked up the scent as soon as he went rumbling in the trash. Wouldn't be surprised if she was off screen somewhere watching. So she shows right up. It's at this point that I think that Harry kind of realizes that he will forever be providing a pound of flesh for his daughter's
Yeah.
creativity.
Yeah, I really think that he's going to step into the role of his daughter's familiar,
And
so
then,
to speak.
and then on top of that, we start getting like an idea of what the science might be, through his eyes. We don't know if it stunts your growth.
Well, that
We don't
comes up
know-
in the next scene, I think. Right?
Oh, it's at the Muse, I think. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
it's at the Muse.
Okay, I don't know. See, when I watch these shows, everything just starts.
You're getting ahead of yourself, Snark. Meanwhile, it's daddy-daughter date at the Muse, and what's on the menu? A rare steak for each of them. So her dad tells her, the pill really isn't, it's not going to help her, and it might actually impede her growth. But Alma doesn't. She says to her dad, I want to focus on music. I don't want to get married. I don't want to have children. Music is what I want to do. And her
She's
dad
definitely career oriented.
very at such a young age.
Yeah, I
And,
wish I
you
had
know,
that focus.
Dad brings up, her mom and, talking about, how they have to, her mom wants to see her grow up. And Alma just says, "Why are you still with her? She's not a great mom or a great wife. We don't need her." And this just really made my jaw drop. Like, the fact that you think of your mom like that.
They're giving her lines.
They are. I mean, I said it in I think the last episode. They really have written this character great, and I think she's doing a really good job.
Somebody's preteen is in the writings room. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just like spilling everything.
But she does tell her dad that she's hungry, and her dad's like, "Well, all right, I will go get you a snack. This steak is not enough for her."
So father goes for takeout and stumbles into a Craigslist dungeon where Harry's ass is going to be transformed into a lovely rosebud by way of a 10-inch dick. Not sure if it's a robot, I'm not really sure if a rosebud's possible that way. Figured someone would need a hand with that. But the visuals are interesting nonetheless. Very Tarantino inspired. So Harry finds himself in this sex dungeon with a fun couple. They try to make him take Viagra because she feels he won't get hard, and I'm not sure what the implications are, but I suppose the level of rectal probing, unlubed, is enough to result in a flaccid member. Now this is TV, so we have to suspend disbelief, and I believe that there's a reason for these explanations. Turns out there is none, because just like Pulp Fiction, there's little to no action in this scene, sexually. Now, before Harry breaks out of his dungeon, we catch a few rules on the house, rules of the house, written on cardboard. If he's about to star in a snuff film, what's the point of the rules? We have rules like, you will be clean and be ready for your master at all times. Or, number two, he will never say no to your master. 3, no complaining, in caps and underlined. And finally, there's some other rule about breaking. If you break any of these rules, punishment is almost mandatory. So, we get a quick glimpse of those rules before he kind of breaks his way out of this dungeon. And he's eventually led out of the dungeon after he makes a stir. And I almost cackled when he threw an ironing board between two tables.
I believe that was a bench press.
Was it a bench press?
Yes, it was a bench press that got that the legs got taken off of.
Okay,
That's what it looked like to me.
It looked so ridiculous, but it kind of made me laugh. And so Harry was spread across this bench press, and he ended up using his shark teeth to break free of his bindings. So after he takes out the girl and has her, he shoots the guy and lets his blood drain. And you'll find out later what he does that for. So he finally, you know, after all this time, he's finally becoming that father, that provider for his daughter. It's just in a weird way.
Yeah, one of the most messed up ways I've ever seen.
Yeah, to bring her the bacon and then some.
Yeah, and then some, but the bacon juice. So Harry gets back home from the Craigslist appointment. Now he takes a thermos and he pours the contents into a bowl. He puts this bowl of blood soup in front of Alma, and she starts eating it with a spoon. Now this reminded me of like a messed up Campbell's soup ad. It was like, blood.
Yeah.
Or
Campbell's soup without the pasta.
I know. It was just like, this is kind of messed up. But I could definitely tell where they got their inspiration from.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, now that you mentioned.
I know.
Definitely.
So eventually, Harry's agent gives him a surprise visit. So Ursula arrives in Provincetown. She was in New York seeing some shows and had to come by and see him.
Oh, she was in New York?
Yep, she was in New York watching some shows.
Doing some Broadway.
Yep, probably seeing some Broadway shows.
Off-Broadway.
That's where you find good writers, apparently. Now, because he's going to be writing, she has some news to tell him. She sent his script around, and apparently it caught the eye of one Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, he makes 2 appearances.
He is going to be making a show for Hulu, and guess who's writing it? Harry. Now, Harry is kind of confused by this because Tarantino writes all of his own stuff, and there, there's this thing kind of winks at the audience. It kind of winks at us by saying Quentin Tarantino. It implies that Quentin Tarantino might be taking the pills too.
It's such a hard wink at the camera.
So it's like Quentin knows good writing. So I think this is the first time.
Well, no, they say since he's trying to have a family, he really can't be in that mode, and what he's talking about.
Yeah, thank you. I could not remember that quote.
Why did she say that? I don't know. But she said,
I think
this is like a confirmation that Tarantino actually looked at it, and when he saw the writing, he's like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I think that was a direct quote from him to like
a direct message.
So this is, I think, the first time we hear of like a real world writer that's taking the pills.
Oh, that's taking the pills?
Yeah. Is it?
I
think this is the first instance.
I think so, yeah.
So it's really kind of cool how they worked that in, I think. I like that little Easter egg that, okay, these exist outside of Provincetown, or people outside of Provincetown know about them. So I really liked that.
So how long has Spielberg been on them?
Well, he doesn't write.
But he directs.
He does. But, I mean, we haven't really seen directors taking this. It's pretty much literary people and other creatives.
A director's a creative.
No, that's very true. That's very true.
I mean...
Yeah. So, before Ursula leaves, Alma cries out that she's hungry, and her father looks over at Alma and says, she's going through this weird growth spurt right now. So Ursula's like, oh, okay, but she gets out of the house, and Harry goes after her, and he lets her know. He's like, hey, it's kind of dangerous around here. There are a lot of addicts, so don't walk around by yourself. And she just goes, oh, I got my mace with me. It's like, your mace ain't gonna help you with these people.
Well, you know what though?
So
for me though, it was the beginning of like getting to know this character. She is unfazed.
Well, she spends most of her time in LA and New York.
Yeah.
So she probably deals with a lot of creepy people, a lot of addicts. Yeah. On the street, mind you. So she's aloof. I mean,
I love the character. I don't want to say she's aloof. It's just like she's
all.
Like, if you've been to LA and if you've been to New York,
you've seen it all. Yeah, aloof is the wrong word. My apologies,
I think
listeners.
She's unfazed. So she's like, what's the word I would say? Jaded.
Yeah. So Ursula wants to grab something to eat. So
at the Muse, Ursula is accosted by Mickey, but easily sidesteps his, meth adult aggression. She describes him as having, a poor complexion, and, she does say he has a clear meth addiction. So, as Austin and Sarah take to the stage, Ursula quickly has all she is willing to take, as her meal is completely ruined once the duo starts singing. She says, I quote, "Shitty Captain" and Tennille cover band. And the lasting line, when Sarah steps down to meet Ursula is, "You look really sweet."
I love that. It's like, oh, you look
line.
so sweet, but it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
you don't know the half of it.
There's so much like double
There's
entendre.
There's context there.
And we, the audience, we know all that. We know what she's saying.
Yeah, we know exactly what she means.
I mean, honestly,
she's sweet.
She's getting the best line.
Well, she's sweet but spicy.
And her delivery, has been flawless.
Yeah. Gotta love Frances Corroy. All right, so I believe it's the next day, and Ursula decides she's gonna walk along the water. So she's at the beach and she's walking alone, but we
unbothered,
unbothered until Mickey starts running up to her, and apparently the person that works at the Land's End Inn
and Mickey have some kind of connection.
They have a connection, and
read into it what you will.
Yeah, apparently this person told him that Ursula was an agent from Hollywood, and he brings his screenplay to her.
Screenplays.
Yeah, it was all of them.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, I don't want to read someone's first screenplay." He's like, "Oh no, it's the first one I finished, but I finished like 4 others in the last few days." And she's like, "Huh?" So
she's like, "Don't buy." She's
like,
"Don't mind if I don't buy."
Yeah. She said, "But you have
if I don't burn them."
She said, but in regards to reading it, she said, "Oh, you have a better chance of me giving you a blowjob than me reading these."
Did she say that?
She did.
She did. She's getting some good lines.
She is. But when she finds out that he's finished these in the past few days, she's like, she takes them and she decides that she's gonna give him a read. So she takes the scripts and goes back to the hotel.
So, later on that night, Ursula's got the Chardonnay and the slow grooves on. She's got the fire going. She takes a look at Mickey's script and she's immediately drawn in.
She cannot stop turning those pages.
Exactly.
Yeah, she realizes something here.
And so it's like, Mickey's a talent after all. But everything, it feels too convenient for me. There's just too much talent in one town and none of it seems to add up,
Yeah, it's like not only did this happen with Mickey, but her client finished an entire series while he was here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like these, creative vampires, they're definitely something different from, American Horror Story. It did kind of remind me of like the energy vampire and What We Do in the Shadows.
I wouldn't say.
Well,
no,
I mean,
he feeds. He feeds off of people's energy, but he doesn't necessarily. It doesn't make him more creative.
But this is an energy, as a different type.
It's a different type, but it's like, I mean, these are people who crave on blood just to write. A vampire craves on blood to live.
No, they can't. Well, their creativity won't live.
Yeah, I mean, these people's creativity won't live.
They will
definitely
die, so they have to feed it with blood. So it's like at this point, that moment of truth for Macaulay Culkin takes place at Land's End. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, I think in our last episode.
Okay.
About, whether he would turn or not. Being a.
I mean, he's definitely shown some promise.
I mean, but you know what the thing is I don't know if she's lying or not.
I don't either, but I mean,
the reality is like she
might just trying to get some information.
I think we haven't gotten to it yet, but she definitely has her own desires, and she has her own plan.
She does.
And she's gonna use whatever she can.
And she knows that Mickey would be a worthy candidate to use because this guy's a hustler.
Well, he's not a hustler. He's desperate.
Well, but he's a hustler too.
He's a hustler, but he, in this case, for her, to her, he's definitely desperate.
Oh yeah, and he'll
You
do
know,
he'll do anything.
whatever.
The next day, Ursula meets up with Mickey. She wants to know what's going on with this town. Well, she says she loves Mickey's script, but something doesn't sit right with her, and it's not Mickey. She knows who the crappy Captain and Tennille are.
Summers.
She knows them. She was at the Tonys when he won like three awards one night, and she personally rubbed one out to one of Sarah's books.
She beat off to one of Sarah's books.
That's what I said. So she says, I will make you a deal. She wants to create her own boutique agency with these pills. So if you can get me these pills, I'll get you work. But he has to get her the pills.
And so, this is like the section where, I think Macaulay Culkin, he does, or I was going to say Kevin does what he does best.
Don't call him Kevin. Don't call him. Kevin didn't break into places.
He did?
No, he didn't.
Oh,
It was his house he was protecting that night.
Oh, okay. All right.
Someone needs to go back to film school.
Not see that film. But moving right along. So Ursula wants answers, and Mickey is her way in. She knows that straight away, she's only been there for like maybe a day. She had one night there.
Yeah,
she's already got the lay of the land, and she probably saw enough scripts where this is believable. So she's I see, where I'm, you telling me about these vampires and things and stuff like that, and all I see is opportunity. I need to know where the source is, so I can, finally get up from underneath this agency and start my own boutique.
She wants the kingpin.
Well, she wants to start her own empire, and this just looks like the place to start, get started. So, what does she do? She leans hard on Mickey. Mickey wants to be a star, or he wants to be what you call it?
He wants to be a screenwriter.
So Mickey has a dream to be a screenwriter, and she is going to manipulate that dream to make sure her dream comes true. So, Mickey goes to, Bella Noir's boudoir and finds her pills under a false bottom. Make of that what you will. She finds the pills and
Great analogy there, buddy. Great analogy there.
It's not an analogy. It's literally the...
Yeah, I know.
What happens.
But perfect delivery there, Snark.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. We have another Craigslist appointment. We are back in Sarah's car. Austin is driving, and Harry is in the back seat. So they are going to a house in search of a coin collection that was posted on Craigslist. Mm-hmm. Now, it turns out to be a house full of 3 people who all look strung out.
Well, I guess a meth den?
Yeah. Yeah, it could be. I mean, whatever.
I don't know.
Regardless, there are 3 people living there.
Nest.
So Austin says, well, hot dog, it's a goddamn buffet. I loved his delivery on that line. I did. I thought that was perfect. So they all get one person to themselves. Yeah. But Harry, as he's going down on his
eating.
lunch, he goes under the counter and he finds a thermos conveniently, and he puts some of the blood into the thermos. And Austin goes, "Oh, that's a really good idea." Now, I think some other people had eyes on him for some other reasons, so they get in the car to go back.
And you know what? I was just thinking about it. I'm thinking in my back of my head, like, how many people live outside of this town,
right?
And are constantly, on Craigslist trying to sell stuff.
Well, but they only, they only go to people who they suspect have stolen their merchandise.
But wouldn't it seem like they would definitely empty out the supply by the end of the summer?
Yeah, it seems like they're going in like very small, boonies or whatever you want to call it.
Cape Cod.
I honestly thought that was kind of a rich area.
Me
so
too.
They must be
pretty sure it is
traveling pretty far to get these. To
where?
To get these snacks.
Rhode Island.
I don't know. But if you're desperate, you'll go almost anywhere, right?
Staten Island.
I mean,
They going all the way to Staten.
they could.
I mean, I don't know.
Where else would you find someone that desperate to get rid of a coin collection?
Yeah.
I don't know. So,
Okay. So, after they're feeding, and almost like, a callback to Pulp Fiction, the two are riding back, and Sarah, they kind of stop the car, and Sarah pulls a gun on Harry, demanding she tell him this minute who's the blood for.
Yeah.
What's in the mug? What's in the mug?
That's 7.
Oh. So
If you're going to quote film history, you quote it right, Snark.
well, you think it's on there.
No, go on.
Okay.
That's staying in there, buddy.
Staying in there?
That's staying in there.
Why?
Because.
So, anyways, when he mentions that the thermos of blood is for his daughter, he has no clue what horror these two have in store for him. In short, once Harry leaves, we discover he is no longer an asset. He's more of a liability to these two. And, this parasitic agent he welcomed into the town is like getting way too close to everybody. So it looks like it's best that, Bella Noir and Austin Summers cut their losses and get rid of
Everyone.
Harry and his family. His entire family and everybody else attached.
And probably their
attached
little
to him.
baby, too.
Well, yeah, that would go with the wife, I guess.
But wouldn't they wait till the wife was born to have the baby extra?
Yeah. You talking about Bella?
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, she does eat baby.
Do her own, she's got those teeth. She can do her own C-section.
She can.
So
then we go back to the dock, the famous Dick Dock. And Mickey arrives there, and he sees a guy that's already sitting under the dock, and it's a person that Mickey knows. So the guy starts to make small talk with Mickey. He hasn't seen anybody there all day, but Mickey pulls out a knife, and he wants to kill this guy. He wants his blood.
I don't know. He kind of looked like the other guy. That guy had his throat slit.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's what they were going for, like through costuming and stuff.
They all have the same.
Yeah, to have the same look.
Beatnik.
Yeah, sort of. But it definitely wasn't the same guy.
Okay.
I
was like.
So a scuffle starts, and the guy ends up drowning Mickey in the ocean, or at least attempting to. And so the guy runs away, and Mickey slits the guy's ankle.
Yeah,
he falls right down.
Low blow.
He falls right down,
Yeah.
and Mickey jabs him in the neck and starts drinking his blood.
Yeah, it was interesting,
So, now we're having people break
it's like, do you notice they keep having these, like, Jaws-like moments? Like, I mean, I'll say that the shark teeth...
Well, actually, I think... I mean, Jaws took place in a seaside town.
I know, but he keep having, like, these feedings off the water.
And I think it was Cape Cod near Martha's Vineyard?
I don't know.
I don't know the answer to that, but I want to look it up, because I know Jaws was filmed in Martha's Vineyard, so...
Martha Stewart's Vineyard?
That's your one bad joke of the day. That's your one bad joke of the day. So, now we're starting to have people break this rule about not killing anyone in Provincetown. But, like, why would...
I mean, how many times has it been broken?
Well, but, I mean, by only twice.
So far?
Once by Harry, and once by Mickey. As of now, that's it.
Okay, yeah.
So, but why wouldn't Sarah tell Mickey this? She knows she has to know that he's taken it, or at least that he has access to it, and she does know him. So why wouldn't she have told him by now? He must know these pills exist.
Who, Mickey?
Yeah,
Mickey already knew about. He knew.
I know. So like, why wouldn't Sarah tell this to him? This unwritten rule about not killing anyone in Provincetown.
Oh, because I think that she did not intend on him
actually taking them.
Pills.
Yeah, so this is causing some serious problems. So yeah.
So actually, I think that she does notice when her good stash, had been taken, because he, took the pills, replaced them with, fakes.
But did she notice this yet?
That's why I think she was there. I quite certain, because she was supposed to, that's why I really believe she was there.
Well, I think this comes up next, right?
Yeah, so Sarah's waiting in Mickey's hovel, and he makes the mistake of telling Sarah about his pill popping. And I think that's when she kind of, I think she already knew about it.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, I don't know if they can sense each other. And then that's when he goes, and makes the cardinal sin of placing himself on equal footing with Sarah Cunningham. Now, this is when she delivers, like, I think one of her best lines. And I wish I knew the whole thing, but she says, essentially, you're a paper plane, and I'm a 747.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you can't pretend to fly or something.
There's no comparison.
There really isn't.
We are in two.
That was a really good
We're in two
line.
different stratospheres, and it was an excellent line. And Belle is already, at this point, she's dispatching, thinking of ways. She's so insulted by this,
This
this
Hollywood
agent who
agent.
came in here talking all this mess and insulted her in her own bar. And she's ready to take her out just for that. And so she's already got, ideas and ways that Kevin can kill her. So Belle exits, with what I think was one of the top lines of the evening. They come in pairs, So, the second one was, your poverty offends me.
That was a great line.
And I don't know if Macaulay Culkin is refusing makeup, because he looks every bit as washed up, and I believe it.
I mean, I think they did a great job of his look. That more than likely is makeup.
He made himself look disheveled.
Everybody, it was a good.
I think he's like,
It was a really good look on their part.
He's doing method acting.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. He's
What do you mean?
he's a new father. I don't think he'd do that.
Method acting.
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't mean it literally.
So we're at the boat dock, and the dead body is being brought up through, and the sheriff is talking to a man, played by series regular Dennis O'Hare. Mm-hmm. His name is Holden, and he says he saw everything, but he was too far away to see who actually killed the person. And the sheriff wants to know what he was doing at the dock alone. Mm-hmm. And, but he tells her he was on the beach just taking in the colors. It turns out Holden is this interior designer for, quote, every chic house in Provincetown. And I want to say, I think he might be on the pills. I think he might be on them too. Yeah. Do you think we might discover that down the line?
I don't know. Is that really a claim to fame?
I mean, it is creative. I don't know if it's a claim. Everyone keeps hiring him. So here's the other thing. Or do you think he's going to meet up with Doris and kind of give her inspiration?
Well, to be honest, I kind of felt like him and possibly tuberculosis Karen could be like, your local creatives.
Okay, so you think maybe sometime? Well, I mean, this is my question that I posed to you.
Locals.
Do you think that his creativity might die and he might end up having to go on the pills?
Who?
The Holden, the interior designer.
I'm not exactly sure. I didn't really read that much into it. I kind of felt like
but here's my thing. When you have a series regular like that, Dennis O'Hare, he's been on a lot of the seasons of American Horror Story.
This is true.
He is not. I don't think he'd play just a one scene character.
Oh no,
he will definitely
I don't think
be
he's a cameo.
Yeah, he will definitely be a bigger part of the story. And I did notice this little not really, but this little costume choice. I mentioned the black and white. In the Muse scene, there was that both Sarah and Austin were wearing these black and white outfits.
Yeah,
his scarf was also the same pattern in black and white.
Really,
I thought that might have been like look, he's got some of the creativity in him too.
Okay,
so just a little something I picked up.
Maybe they can all be one and the same, and I'm completely wrong, and he's like international, sensation.
Maybe.
I don't know. So after that, that meeting where we meet Mr. O'Hare, Mickey is, meant to dispatch Ursula. So he finds his way into Land's End. Probably that friend at the front desk. It slips him the key.
Well, no, he does break in.
Oh, he breaks in?
He breaks in.
Oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
so much for that. So,
We just got done watching the episode.
so he breaks in, and, with his little ice pick, I guess, because that...
No.
Is that a little knife?
No, I forget what it was, but I don't think it was
It was
an
like
ice
a
pick.
knife or an ice...
Was it?
Ice pick, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and, she's in the bath, with her Toblerones, and, having a good time. And she just turns, he's like, were you going to kill me with that?
It was so calm.
It was like, it
So
would
calm.
really be a shame because I just sent your script out and they were talking, about you doing the Speed Racer reboot. They wanted to hire you on the spot.
Loves that idea. He
And
loves it. He oh my god.
He literally drops everything.
He does.
Including the knife. Or
He
ice
puts
pick.
it down and he can't stop talking about Speed
He's
Racer.
like, what?
That defined my generation. I used to play Speed Racer.
And the thing is that I'm thinking all this time, like, in the back of my head, I was like, that movie was not a bad movie. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I enjoyed that movie, and I
But
don't know.
but it was a
Aside from
failure.
Alita Battle Angel, it was like one of the more accurate depictions of anime that was, translated pretty well, and so I really did enjoy that movie. But whatever, this is, we are meant to suspend disbelief, so whatever. So, again, this is enough for, Mickey to start gushing pretty much and forget about killing Ursula altogether. In fact, she's beginning to look like his meal ticket out of Cape Cod.
Interesting.
If he's willing to do her bidding.
Oh yeah.
So she needs something from him, and she's like, okay,
If
I've
you
created this web, and
Yeah.
He's moving and he's comfortable. And he's getting
but
closer.
the other thing is, she could just be using him.
No, that's what I'm saying.
and it's
That's
like
what I'm saying. She weaves
Oh, yeah.
the web,
Because it's like, okay,
she
if
spun
you
a
look
web.
if you look at the screenplay that he gave her, it's like half typed, half on loose
Like,
leaf
here-
paper.
like, here's
It's
the-
like it's so
Here's the
unrealistic.
potential thing. If she's actually lying, which I think she is,
Oh, absolutely.
that means he was a talentless hack
Right.
and it didn't work.
Right.
Which means my theory is true.
Well, because if you look, he took, not only did he take the pill, but he's also taking meth.
He is, but like, the
know.
meth didn't. I think he's just like. I think maybe if he did take it, I think that it doesn't happen immediately, the effects. So you don't immediately become this dunce. I think it's a gradual thing. Mm-hmm. Because only reason I say that is because some of the, lesser or lower brain vampires had their teeth, shaped like shark.
Okay.
So at some point were they, cognizant, where they're like, I need to do this so I can feed and everything like that.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean, I don't know. Again,
right.
It just makes me think that potentially, I don't know, she could be lying.
She
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, and it really suits her character. She's an agent in L.A.
She's gonna do the funny thing. She will do anything.
Absolutely.
Anything.
There are a lot of people who will stab you in the back in this industry.
And she sees.
So, I mean, it really fits in with her character.
She's like, look, all I have to do is put in a weekend's work, and I've got upward momentum in 10 years' time, and I got my own place and everything. And potentially, I might even have, a well of talent. And my thing is just going to, I'm going to become the CAA and all of those things.
Right.
So, in thinking that, this agent, she's basically looking to find out the source of this drug. She wants to know, where is this coming from? And it leads her to this trap house. I mean, I'm going to use the term loosely. This trap house in the suburbs. It looked pretty nice where she was.
It did look like a nice house.
It was, it was one of the few places where I actually saw people.
Yeah, and it was very upper class. It did not look like what you would think of a trap house.
It was a trap house.
Looks like a family home, a family of 4 could comfortably live.
4 dozen. Yeah. So, they go up to this trap house and knock on the door, and this black woman answers the door. And after some corralling from Ursula, saying that she'll, definitely be calling the police for illegal activity and everything, the woman lets her inside. And so, over the next few moments, Ursula puts all of her agent skills to work, and she literally drafts up a contract from this woman.
Right.
She says, you're going to get 10% of all sales.
And a back-end deal.
You got a back-end deal. It's like everything that somebody wants to hear in Hollywood.
You'll be the richest person in Provincetown.
In no time.
Yeah.
And so, it's very, interesting, interesting offer, and we don't actually get an answer. And throughout all this, I want to bring up how Ursula, she just remains unfazed. I think she's really like, when I think of Ursula, I think of Ursula from The Little Mermaid.
No, it's
signing that contract. And
I get
I'm like,
you.
man, they're definitely hammering it in with these
so
symbolic.
Well, one thing that did happen is we also see this drug lord going over to Sarah's house, telling them what happened. She doesn't want to do this. She wants out, and that's when Sarah really says we need to get rid of her. Mm-hmm. I forget what the drug dealer's name was. I don't know. Exactly She's played by, I think, Angelica Ross, who was on Pose, but I don't really want to call her by her real name. She kind of works out.
Was she introduced though? I don't think she was.
I don't know if they introduced her by name.
I'll put it like this, because
she is the chemist.
When she initially popped up, I didn't know what her station or what her until you discovered that she was the only person in the house.
Right.
She was just answering the door or whatever.
Right. But yeah, they so she does talk to Sarah and Austin about what happened. Yeah, and it's then when they decide that they need to take care of her, and I think they said Mickey too.
Well, yeah, she said his little whore too, or her little whore too.
Yeah, so they're going to be taken care of. I'm pretty sure.
We'll see.
I'm pretty sure
I'm not exactly sure.
I'm pretty sure that Sarah and Austin have agency in the area to make sure that those two.
Well, can I say this?
Are cut off, so to speak.
They want the agent gone.
Yeah.
They want Austin or Mickey gone.
Well,
they want agent gone. They want Mickey gone. They want Harry gone. They want his daughter gone, and they want his wife gone.
But
at some point, these 5 are gonna have to team up.
Well, it's true. But see, this is definitive because this happens after they find out who the chemist is. So they really want them gone now because once these pills leave Provincetown, it's no longer a secret.
Yeah.
It's no longer a secret now because someone in LA knows about these pills. Everyone's going to flock to Provincetown now.
Well, if you're ever talking about mass producing them,
absolutely.
Aren't you worry about the secret getting out? They'll know the ingredients, but they'll never know how to make it.
Yeah, she's never even written the recipe down. She'll die with it for all we know.
She could be it. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be her blood. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah. So I thought that was one good way to kind of tie this up. But we've got one more scene. Now, Harry's got to leave the house. And he's going to leave Alma alone with Ursula, who's going to be the babysitter. Mm-hmm. But as soon as her father leaves, she tells Alma that she just needs to go upstairs and have a nap. It's been a long day for her.
Yeah. So
Alma just shakes her head and Ursula heads up the stairs. And there is a shot of an ice pick that's on the counter. So I don't know if it's exactly an ice pick, but it's a sharp, pointy thing. Mm-hmm. And Alma,
it's the tool they've been using.
Yeah,
throughout.
it's Alma notices this. So I don't know about you, but I was expecting the worst.
It's like I think everybody goes to the same hardware store.
Probably. Well, I mean, they all go to the same restaurant in this town, for Pete's sake. So, we have a time dissolve, and the sheriff knocks on the door. The sheriff knocks on the door, and She's like, oh, she just wants to talk to Alma. And Alma lets her in. Now, I mean, even if it's a sheriff, I'm like, don't let strangers in the house. But, you're always taught to be nice to the police.
I have no clue.
I don't know either.
I think in this situation, it's just...
Yeah. Anyway, so...
This was not what you thought.
Right. So the sheriff knows what's going on, and she knows that she and her dad are involved.
Potentially involved, yeah. But she just doesn't know to what capacity.
Now, but what the sheriff doesn't know is that this little girl is smarter than a lot of kids her age. And, Alma asked the sheriff, have you ever had a dream? And the sheriff's dream was to be the first female army ranger. Then Alma asks her, how many people would she have killed to achieve her dream?
Yeah, that was...
And it's like, this is like a really...
This is when it gets dark.
This gets really dark.
It starts out pageanty. And then
so it sounds so suspicious to the sheriff. And she's like, come on, let's just go down to the station. And Alma takes this opportunity to stab the sheriff in the throat, in the neck.
Yeah, and it looked like a vein. Cause
it did. She knew right where that artery was. She knew right where it was. And she falls on the coffee table, face
sprawls
up.
Out,
sprawls out. And then Dad walks in.
This is moments later.
Yeah, this is moments later. Dad walks in, and he sees the sheriff laying on the coffee table, and he's like, oh no, what happened? But then we see Ursula and Alma playing cards. They're playing gin rummy. And she says to Harry, he's like, oh...
without missing a beat,
she says, "Oh, I think we need to have a little talk."
Yeah.
So she knows what's going on,
and she probably signed that kid to a contract.
Oh, she had to have. She's gonna be a great violinist.
She found some way. She probably got that contract signed. So I mean, I think that about wraps up. Season 10, episode 3, part 1 of American Horror Story.
Yeah.
Double feature. So, I really enjoyed this one. And it hasn't gone off the rails yet.
Are you serious?
Great. I mean...
A kid just killed the sheriff.
Well, it hasn't gone... It hasn't jumped the shark in a way. Like I'm still very much engaged in what's happening.
Yeah, me too.
I haven't lost interest. So I feel like they're doing a great job. I was engaged with the story, and the pacing has been very good. I think in the past we would have spent like 2 or 3 episodes with him stuck inside of this thing where he became, went from prisoner to almost what's that term they have when somebody
slave.
No. Stockholm syndrome.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. I thought we were talking about like a bondage S&M relationship.
I was like a Stockholm. I mean, it was kind of the same.
Well, yeah. My apologies.
Yeah.
All right.
And so, I feel like they've definitely avoided those hurdles, and I mean, it was a good episode. What did you think?
I really love the cliffhanger this week. And we got a chance to meet our Walter White. Really loved Angelica Ross's performance. I think this format is really good. It's giving the writers a nice timeline to get the story done. They've got about I think this episode is either 6 or 7, and the next one's like 5 or 6.
Yeah,
I can't remember. So I think it's a really good format for this.
That's a great pace,
I really hope they continue this, or if they're maybe do a shorter season in the future.
So, what did you think the chemist's secret ingredient is? Is it blood? And if so, what kind? I really hope those black pills are a nod to X-Files and we discover the pushers getting her blood from aliens. And we didn't see Tuberculosis Karen tonight.
We didn't.
I wonder what she's up to.
Yeah.
She's one of my favorites. Well, I think that about wraps things up. But if you had any comments or predictions, let us know in the chat. For Trailer Postmortem, this is the Snark.
And I'm Squirrel.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications whenever we go live. I don't know, will we ever go live?
You know what? We never know.
Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened.
Have a good night. or good morning, wherever you are. Hopefully, it's not Cape Cod.
Oh, love that. Bye-bye, everybody.
At the end, high note.